Kia ora and welcome to Business Your Way, a podcast where I take you behind the scenes and look at the strategies, systems and support needed to grow and scale an online service business. One that not only supports you and your family financially, but one that gives you the freedom to live the life of your dreams. I'm taking the many lessons learnt over the last 2 decades of running my own business and working with hundreds of clients to bring you what's working now conversations. I'm pulling back the curtain to bring you real stories from real people, including myself. We're going to talk about everything from how to get clarity on your vision, creating systems so you can automate and delegate, how to hire a kick-ass team that creates raving, returning and referring clients. We're even going to talk about how to kick those limiting beliefs to the curb so that you can flourish in your business. I'm your host, Sandra Julian, an Indigenous mama of 3, fashion-loving sewist and business strategist. Each week, I want to help you dream big, plan well, and do the work to grow and scale your business your way. Just before we jump into this week's episode, I want to invite you to join me for a 90-minute live training to boost your productivity with full focus. To say the last 2 years have been crazy would be an understatement. So it is completely understandable if you are running at full sprint, but it seems like you are never getting anywhere. You feel like you are on that dreaded hamster wheel. Well, it's time to stop all of that chaos, refocus and get clarity to make progress on the things that matter to you most. In this 90-minute live training session, I'm going to walk you through 3 key steps to boost your productivity. We're going to uncover why we often fail to reach our big goals. And we're going to look at how we can connect our annual goals to our daily action with the power of 3. We're going to cover how to do more in less time by creating constraints that force creativity and out-of-the-box thinking. And we're also going to look at how we can optimize your days with the full focus planner and understand how to leverage habits to create self-automation. I invite you to register for this one-time only live productivity training. It's being held on the 17th of March, or for my Northern Hemisphere friends, that will be 16th of March. So head on over to sandrajulian.co/productivity and get yourself registered. I'll see you there. Hey friend, welcome to episode 24. So glad that you're joining me today because we're talking about creating clarity from chaos and approaching our business growth like a marathon and not a sprint. Because what I'm seeing is that business owners are sprinting all day, every day, and it's exhausting. This might be just a little understandable given the last 2 years that we've been through. Most of us have been juggling home and business in a way that we were never prepared for. And if, like me, you've had to adjust to working from home, you've had to adjust to managing a remote team and undoing years of business in a physical office to now operate remotely. And if you're a mama, you have been adjusting to having the kids around 24/7. And we've also had this extra layer in our decision making. So we've had to think about everyone's well-being. And with every decision we're making, we're thinking about well-being of those around us in the decisions that we're making, whether that be for our business or for our personal life. It's all intertwined and it all has an impact. So it's no surprise that you're probably starting your day stressed and you're ending your day stressed and exhausted. And this is likely to be because you're working on the most immediate task first. So when we get into this situation where we've not been before and there seems like an overwhelming amount of things to do, how we approach it by default is that we start with the immediate tasks first. You're probably sitting at your desk with your list of to-dos and you're thinking, I'll just get this one done quickly. Oh, and then I'll just quickly get this out of the way. And then before you know it, your whole day is over and you've been busy all day, but you haven't made any progress towards the things that really matter to you. And I see this lots. So you're not alone if this is what's going on for you right now. What's happening is every day you're running at full sprint, but you've also got this feeling of being behind. It's that feeling that you should be further along than where you are. So at the end of the day, you thought that you would get through more of that to-do list than you did. At the end of the week, you were hoping that you got more done or that you envisaged that you would be at a certain place at the end of the week, but you're not there. So you have this feeling of being behind. And then when you get to the end of the quarter, not that we're at the end of the first quarter of the year yet, but we're into the last month of this first quarter. So during this month, you're looking at your quarterly plan and you're thinking, oh, I haven't even conquered everything that I wanted to do in the first month. And here we are in month 3 of this first quarter. I'm so behind. And so you try and ramp up what you're doing. You try and squeeze more into your day. You try and stretch time as much as you can in order to play catch up. And so this feeling is constant. So we're sprinting every day. We're feeling overwhelmed and we put ourselves into this place of chaos, and it feels chaotic every day because there's this sense of urgency that we've built into our being of where we should be at a certain place and time. And that's because we're thinking that we can go from 0 to 100 without a warm-up or without putting some practice in place. And I'm going to throw this metaphor at you, but you know, Usain Bolt didn't wake up one day and become the fastest man in the world. He had to start somewhere and he had to put in the practice, and becoming a sprinter takes a marathon amount of time. So we can't wake up one day and think that we can go from a 0 to 100 in our business and sprint every day. Usain Bolt didn't sprint every day. He took a long, slow process to become the fastest man in the world. So we have to think of our business in that way as well. Sure, we can have short bursts of sprints, but we actually have to approach our business as if we are running the marathon. We have to be here for the long game. And so we have to let go of those feelings of urgency, of we have to be in a certain place at a certain time. I'm hearing lots from, experts online, and it's, you can get from 0 to $1 million in 3 years. Let me show you how. They may have got there in 3 years, but that doesn't mean to say that you are going to get there in 3 years, because it depends on a whole lot of things. And that's what's going on in your life, all the responsibilities that you've got to take care of in your life. That person that went from 0 to $1 million in 3 years, maybe they didn't have any responsibilities. They may have been a mama, but they weren't the major caregiver or the primary caregiver of their kids. They actually spent 10, 12 hours a day, 5 days a week, building their business. Do you have that amount of time? These are all of the things that I find are creating this sense of urgency amongst us that makes us feel as though we have to be sprinting every day. Every day is a sprint to get through our to-do list. Every day is a sprint to make sure by the end of the week we're in the place that we want to be. And this creates chaos around us. And when there's chaos around us, we can't think clearly. So we have to tame the chaos, get some clarity, and start thinking about running the marathon. We are where we're meant to be. It will take us however long it's going to take us to get to where we see ourselves in our ultimate business goals. But instead of sprinting every day, getting all of these small things done and off our to-do list, instead we need to be taking on less. Well, less is more, really. So instead of taking on everything, which is what you might be doing right now, we need to focus on the 1 to 3 tasks every day that are linked to our priorities. And the priorities that are going to keep us growing in our business. And it's going to keep our business growing so we get to that goal that we have for ourselves and our business. And that goal might simply be, I want to get to 6 figures this year, or I want to get to $500,000 this year, or I want to make that $1 million mark this year, or this year I want to make the $2 million mark. Whatever that is for you, then you need to work on the priorities that'll get you there. But priorities aren't just income-focused goals. Priorities might be, I want to go from working 40 hours a week to actually working 20 hours a week. And you can't do that overnight. That is going to take some time. So you need to focus on the 1 to 3 tasks every day that are linked to the priorities that are going to get you to that goal. Whether that's making money or working less, whatever the priority is for you, you've identified that. And that might seem like an impossible task right now. But back to my metaphor, Usain Bolt didn't become the fastest man in the world by getting up one day and thinking he could go from a 0 to 100 and be the fastest man overnight. He took small steps every day over a long period of time, so he was playing the long game to get to his ultimate goal of being the fastest man in the world. So if he can do it, then so can you. So the first thing we need to do is we need to start by slowing down and gaining clarity. And I know that that will feel counterintuitive, but I'm sure that you've heard of the saying, you have to slow down to speed up. And that is 100% true. Because in order to remove the chaos that's going on around us and just sprinting every day, we need to slow down, we need to gain some clarity. So when I say slow down, I mean we have to dedicate some time to thinking about where you want to go and what you want to become. So if you haven't really documented where you are now, where you want to be, and what are the milestones along that journey to get to where you want to be, now is the time to do that. So this is really easy. It's get out a piece of paper, open a Google Doc, or go to a whiteboard with some pens and start getting everything out of your head and putting it to paper. This is going to be messy, it's going to be ugly, but this is the work that you have to do. So you have to allocate yourself, I don't know, maybe 60, 90 minutes, put everything else aside and start with, where do I want to be in my business in 3 years' time? What's realistic for me? What does that look like? And then start reverse engineering that. And then from there, you're going to identify your priorities in the next year or the next half a year or the next 90 days. And you're going to commit to writing some smarter goals. And there's 5 reasons why we have to commit to writing smarter goals for ourselves and getting the clarity of where we are now and where we want to be. So writing down your goals forces you to get clarity on what you want. Writing down your goals helps you overcome resistance, because that's why we do the easy things first, because we're resisting the hard work that's going to move the dial. So writing down your goals helps you overcome the resistance because you know the hard work that you've got to do is going to get to where you want to go. Writing down your goals motivates you to take action because that's where you want to be. You want to hit that goal. You want to achieve that goal. So that puts you in a place of motivation to get into action. Writing down your goals filters other opportunities. So there are things coming at us left, right, and center every day. And sometimes we can think that's the magic bullet for us to get to where we want to go. And so we pick up these random opportunities that present themselves to us because we aren't clear about our goals. So writing down your goals filters out the other opportunities that will come at you, and they will come at you. Writing down your goals enables you to see and celebrate your progress. So writing down your goals helps you get crystal clear on where you're going. And it helps you get clarity so you can get rid of the chaos that's around you. So once you've written down your goals and you're really clear about where you're going, you can put on your blinker, put on the filters so you're not distracted by anything. Because a distracted mind is an unproductive one. If you're feeling overwhelmed with everything that's on your to-do list, then I encourage you to stop everything and ask yourself, what could I do today or this week or this quarter to advance my highest priorities or get me closer to achieving my goal? For this, I like to use the Eisenhower matrix. And you can Google that if you want a visual image, but I'm going to describe it to you. So grab a piece of paper and with a line in the middle horizontally and then a line in the middle vertically, this is going to split your piece of paper into 4 quadrants. Now we're going to need some labels. So across the top of the first box, you're going to write urgent. Across the top of the page above the second box, you're going to write non-urgent. We're also going to put some labels down the left-hand side of your page. At the bottom, next to the bottom box, so to the left of the bottom box, you're going to put not important, and above that, you're going to put important. So this essentially breaks your page into 4 quadrants, and these 4 quadrants have got a combination of these 2 headers. So the top right-hand box is important and not urgent. The bottom right-hand box is not important and not urgent. The top left-hand box is important and urgent. And the bottom left-hand box is not important and urgent. Now you need to take everything that's on your to-do list and allocate the task to one of these boxes. And so once you've gone through that exercise, allocated all of the tasks and put them in one of these boxes, you've had to think about whether they're urgent or whether they're important, or urgent and important, or not urgent, not important. And so now you've got 4 categories for all of your tasks. The ones that you want to approach first and put at the top of your list to get done and take action on is the top left-hand box. This box is important and urgent. These are the things you do first. The things in the bottom right-hand box, these are not important and not urgent. All of those tasks you shouldn't be doing. You should be giving these to one of your team. If you haven't got a team yet, then you might want to hire an assistant to take those off your plate. And you can hire someone for 5 hours a week. And that 5 hours a week might be all they need to help you get the tasks in that bottom right-hand box off your plate. These are the things that you are likely doing right now when you're having that thought around, let me just get this done really quickly. I'll just do this before I do the next thing. Oh, this won't take me very long. But before you know it, your whole day is taken up with the tasks in box 4. Or, the right bottom box. Everything that you're doing is in that box right now. We want to stop doing that, and you want to start doing everything that is in the top left-hand box. So I encourage you, take 60, 90 minutes, sort everything that you've got on your plate, everything that's on your list, whether it's on your list for today, on your list for this week, on your list for this quarter. Take all of those tasks and put them through this Eisenhower matrix filter. And then you can start to work on the most important things that are going to move the needle in your business. The next thing we have to do is look at maximizing your energy. So often I hear people say, I wish I had more hours in my day, or I need to do something about my time management. My time management's not great. And as a result, you're trying to work harder in an effort to get more done, right? And it's this continuous sprint that I was talking about. Every day you are sprinting. And inevitably, it's going to lead to burnout because we can't sustain that amount of energy day in and day out. That's why you're exhausted at the end of every day. This is because you're being caught in the time-energy paradox. And put simply, it's this concept that time is fixed, but energy flexes. We can't control the time that we have in a day, but we can control our energy that we put into the day. We can control our energy through self-automation. So this is a process where we apply automation to our personal behavior. So forming good habits and strong daily rituals automates the small but important behaviors that might otherwise slip through the cracks and get added to that to-do list and then starts to create the overwhelm. So we also want to take a look at what are the things that we can automate, and automate I mean self-automate by changing our personal behaviors on a daily basis that will remove some of those things from what we've put on our to-do list. So for this, I recommend that you create daily rituals, which are a chain of habits that multiply the power of a simple habit. So this is how I think about this. So I have 4 work rituals which I implement into my week, which I would recommend that you do as well. Number 1 is the weekly startup ritual, the small habits that I do at the beginning of every week to set up my week for success. I have a weekly closeout ritual, so a set of small habits, which are small tasks that I do at the end of the week where I can close out my week, shut the computer, and then enjoy my weekend. Then I have 2 daily rituals. One is a daily ramp up ritual, again 20 to 30 minutes at the beginning of every day. It's a small set of habits chained together to make my daily ramp up ritual. And at the end of the day, I do again 20-30 minutes, a daily shutdown ritual, a chain of habits that I do at the end of the day that I can close my computer and then have the evening to myself. So these 4 rituals help me do the smaller things that I need to do that don't now take me a lot of brain power and are no longer on my to-do list. They help set up my week, set up my day for success so I can concentrate on the things that are most important to me to keep moving my business forward every week. So when you create these self-automations, you're preserving your energy for the most important work. And you don't have to worry or stress about these daily or weekly tasks because you've already allocated time and space for them. And over time, they'll get done without a second thought. So they just don't take any energy at all because now you do them on autopilot. Have you ever found yourself in a car driving and then you're on autopilot, You've just driven the route that you always drive to take the kids to school, but actually you weren't taking the kids to school, you were trying to go to the supermarket. But you were on autopilot because 5 days a week you drive that same route every day. This is how it works with your daily and weekly rituals. They're just the same thing that you do every day, and they become second nature. They are on autopilot and you do them without even taking a second thought. So I promise, when you get clear on your priorities, you sort out the endless to-do list, and you preserve your energy through self-automation, the chaos will disappear. You'll settle into the long game of building a smart, sustainable, and highly profitable business. These things won't come easy at first. They may actually feel downright hard the first time that you do them, but if we don't change, nothing changes. Let me say that again. If we don't change, nothing changes. So let's play the long game, because business growth is a marathon, not a sprint. You're exactly where you're meant to be. Every day you're exactly where you're meant to be. But to be making progress on where you want yourself to be, then focus on the most important things that is going to move the dial to get you there. Now, if you're listening to this podcast in real time when it is released, or it could even be the week after the podcast is released, then I'd like to invite you to join me for a 90-minute live training, Boost Your Productivity with Full Focus. This is a live training that I'm doing on the 17th of March or 16th of March for my Northern Hemisphere friends. And we're going to focus on 3 things that are going to help boost your productivity with full focus. This is for you to refocus, to get clarity, to make progress on the things that matter to you. So if this episode resonated with you, then you're going to really enjoy this 90-minute live training. And it's live with me, so we can get things done together. I'm going to include some discussion time, some Q&A time. This workshop is for you to improve your productivity, to get some strategies to make achieving your highest priorities easier. To find out more about the live training, you can go to sandrajulian.co/productivity. Let's ditch the chaos, create clarity, and play the long game by boosting your productivity. I look forward to seeing you at the training. Before you go today, I wanted to say thank you for being here and listening all the way to the end. All of the links to this week's episode can be found in the show notes, or if you like to read a really good blog, then you can head over to my website at sandrajulian.co/podcast. Now, you've probably realized that running a business is not for the faint-hearted. There are challenges coming at you left, right, and center every day. But I'm here to tell you that challenges are only challenges because you haven't yet found an answer to them. The solution could actually be easier than you may think. But if you're anything like me, you tend to overthink or overanalyze the solution that is right in front of you. So what do you have to do to become the best boss you could possibly be? Well, you could go and take my 2-minute free agency owner persona quiz at sandrajulian.co/quiz. Here you'll find out how you can scale and streamline your business without compromising you and your lifestyle. I can't wait to know what your results are. So once you've done the quiz, why don't you take a screenshot, jump over to Instagram, share it on your stories, and don't forget to tag me. I'm at sandrajulian.co. If you've enjoyed today's episode, make sure that you hit the subscribe button to get notified of the new episodes as soon as they're released. And if you listen on Spotify or the Apple Podcast app, then I'd really appreciate if you could rate the show and perhaps leave a quick review if you are on the Apple app. Those 5 stars would mean the world to me, and it would help get this show in the ears of more online service business owners. Alrighty, my friend, have the most productive week, and I will talk to you again real soon.